So dear friends, in this session we discuss the unit 5th part C, the quality system, the introduction of ISO 9000 and 14000 clauses during at the initial stage 1987 and then revised at 2000s. The ISO 9000 is one of the most widely recognized in the world. ISO 9000 is a quality management standard that presents guidelines intended to increase business efficiency and the customer satisfactions. The goal of ISO 9000 is embedded a quality management system within an organization, increasing productivity, reducing unnecessary costs, and ensuring quality of processes and the products. The ISO 9000 have the three standards of the series. The first one is ISO 9000, that is a quality management system which describes the fundamentals and vocabulary, discusses the fundamental concepts related to quality management system, and provides the terminology used in the other two standards. The next is ISO 9001. The quality management system requirements are standard used for registration by documenting conformity of QMS to customer, regulatory and the organization's own requirement. Then ISO 9004. The quality management system, it is generally useful for the offices. The guidelines for performance improvement provides guidelines that an organization can use to establish a QMS focus on improving the performance. ISO 9002, it is a quality assurance model for production and installations. ISO 9003 is quality assurance model for final inspection and testing. And the 9004 we already discussed. It is generally used for the offices. So these are the various models of ISO 9000 series. The elements of ISO 9000 which is incorporated at the beginning during 1987. These are the various elements. The management responsibility, in which it covers the adequate resources for verification activities, need for trained personnel, work and verification activities including audits, a management representative to be identified, review of the quality system performance and customer complaints periodically. The second element is the quality system. The third one is the contract reviews, design control and document controls. So we start discussing the first one, that is the management responsibility. Management responsibility, they are responsible for finalizing the quality process policy. They have to make a quality policy for the organizations. The management must define the documents, its quality policy, and what is the objective of an organization. It must ensure that the policy is understood, implemented, and maintained at all levels in the organizations. Responsibility and authority. The responsibility, authority, and the interrelations of the persons who are engaged in the process, installation, providing solutions, identifying problems, delivery of the product should be clearly defined. and there should not be any ambiguity. So there is no confusions among the various persons worked in the organizations. The verification of resource or a personnel. So it includes the audit also. So the supplier shall identify internal verification requirements, provide adequate resources and assign the trained personnel for such verification activity. That means we have to do it is the responsibility of management. They regularly audited the system, so the product or services produced by an organization maintain the quality. The internal verification activity shall include the inspection, test and monitoring of design, production, installation, servicing, process, quality system, design review. These activities shall be carried out by the independent or a trained persons, not related to the activity. So the persons who performing those activities, they are not doing the audit. So which is being, it is verified by some another departmental persons. Then a management representative to be identified. So for coordinating the quality activity in the organizations, a person with sufficient responsibility and also have the authority delegated by the management, and the management should dominate such persons. They have the responsibility as well as authority coordinating among the various departments. They should ensure that the requirements of the international standards are implemented and maintained. The last one is the review. The management must periodically review the effectiveness of the quality system and also keep the record of the same. The next point is the quality system. A well-defined and documented quality system shall be established to ensure that the product conforms to the specified requirements. So the whatever the requirement given by a designer during manufacturing a product or delivering a services, it should be conformed as per the requirements. This shall include the preparation of the quality manual, procedure, process work instructions, workmanship standards, drawing specifications and relevant quality records. The effective implementation of quality system, updating the above mentioned documented and record when there is some change. So whenever any change occurs in an organization, so the effective implementation of quality system should be updated. Then contract review. A supplier shall establish and maintain documented procedure for contract review to ensure that the contract fulfill the following conditions. The customer requirements are already defined and documented. Any deviation from either side with respect to tender are resolved at the time of contract review. The supplier has the capability to meet the contractual requirements. So periodically we have to review the contract with the vendors who supplies the required material or the components. Next one is the design control. So it is concerned with the various aspects of design control at several stages. The supplier must have documented procedure for the control and verification of design. The responsibility of each design and development activity is identified and planned. It's a regular flow of information and documentations among the various groups engaged in the design activities and being reviewed and updated time to time. The design input requirements are identified and documented. That means whatever the needs and expectation of customers taken from the various customers, it should be supplied during design the product. Documented input requirements are reviewed and any discrepancy or ambiguity in the requirement is to be resolved. So if any confusion, it is the responsibility of the design departments. They should resolve such ambiguity. Verification of the design at all level of development is carried out and documented. All design changes are approved, documented, verified. So with the passage of time, when we change certain parameters change or we redesign the product, it should be approved, documented and verified with the appropriate authority. Next one is the document controls. The supplier must establish and maintain a document procedure for maintaining, approving, issuing, reviewing all the documents, which is named as a quality manual, standard operation procedure, process specification, flow charts, operation process chart. So the authority and responsibility for the same must be clearly identified and documented. Next one is purchasing. In this clause, issue relating to the assessment of subcontractor, purchasing data, verification of purchase components, material and procedure there are specified. This clause on purchasing or subcontracting is applicable for raw materials, bought components, subcontracted components which become a part of the product and which are likely to affect the quality of a product made by the suppliers. So whenever we purchase any component or raw materials needed for making a product, we should review and check the quality of the raw material or component supplied by a supplier. Purchaser supplied product. So in case of the part of product, the supplier shall establish and maintain procedure for verifications. So we have to make some verification process whenever the vendor or a supply the component, raw material, and how it is to be stored and maintained and record of such parts. Any such part of product, if lost, damaged or otherwise unsuitable for use, shall be recorded and reported to purchasers. So whenever the vendor supplied the component or a raw materials, if there is any problem, sometimes during shipments some components may damage, or it may be some of the components they are not suitable for making our product. So all such things should be recorded and reported to the purchaser. The product identification and traceability. This involves the establishment of procedure for identifying the product for applicable drawings, a specification, etc. So during all stages of productions, installation and delivery, the item which need traceability should be identified during the design phase itself. So when we are making a design, within this designs, when we are preparing the document of producing a product, all such things should be incorporated in a design manuals, where traceability is a specified requirement. Individually product or batch shall have a unique identifications. The next one is the process control. This clause or this element states that the supplier shall identify and plan the production and installation process which directly affect the quality. Documented work, instruction for production and installation, suitable working environments, compliance with reference, standard or codes and the quality plans, monitoring and control of suitable process and product characteristics during production and installation. Then next is the inspection and testing. The clause deals with reviewing inspection and testing, in-process inspection and testing, final inspection and testing, The supplier must ensure that the incoming product is not used or processed until it has been inspected or verified as conforming to specific requirements. Final inspection and testing are carried out in accordance with the quality plan or a documented procedures. The next one is inspection, measuring and test equipments. The inspection, measuring and test equipment shall be used in a manner which ensures that the measurement uncertainty is known and is consistent with the required measurement capability. The following points are to be adhered within connection with this element. Identifying the measurement to be made. So for a particular product, we should identify what parameters we are going to be measured and what accuracy we required. So select the appropriate inspection, measuring and test equipments. So for such specific parameters, measurements, we have to select the appropriate inspection, measuring and test equipments. Regularly we have to calibrate the inspection, measuring and testing equipments. Ensure that the inspection, measuring and test equipments are capable and precise. We also maintain the calibration records, when and where from we did the calibration of the instruments using for measuring and test. Ensure that the environmental conditions are suitable for calibration and inspection and test. Also ensure the handling, preservation and storage of such equipments. Proper safeguard of measuring equipments from the adjustment should be made to protect it from getting invalidate calibration settings. We should be taken care of all such measuring and test equipments. Inspection and test status. The inspection and test status of the product should be identified by using marking, authorized stamps, tags, etc. This is necessary to indicate the conformance or non-conformance. So after test we should mark something on the product. So identification of inspection and test status is to be maintained throughout the production and installations. Ensure that only products that have passed the required inspection and test are dispatched or installed. Further, inspection authority responsible for the release of conforming product should be clearly identified. The next one is control for non-conforming products. When during inspections we observe that some of the products they do not meet the design specifications, so in this element we have to control the non-conforming product. The control of non-conforming product involves the identification, documentations, evaluations, segregations and dispositions. This is done to ensure that non-conforming product is prevented from inadvertent use or installation. A review should be carried out to analyze and segregate product are as under: the product which can be reworked and reused. Some of the non-conforming products, the possibility is we can do the rework and use, accepted with or without repair by concession. Sometimes we supplied some non-conforming product at the reduced rate to the customers. Regarded for alternate applications, we can utilize those non-conforming product in some other manufacturing different products, rejected and specs. So when such non-conforming products are not repairable, not accepted by the customers, then such non-conforming products are rejected and they are scrapped. The repair and rework products shall be re-inspected. So any non-conforming products, if we do the repairs, so it must be re-inspected in accordance with the documented procedure. The next is the corrective action. The supplier shall establish, document and maintain the procedure for investigating the cause of non-conforming product and the corrective action needed to prevent the recurrence. So whenever the non-conforming product produced during the process, so we have to analyze what are the causes of producing such non-conforming products. So we should take the corrective actions and also keep the record, analyzing all process, work operations, quality records, service reports, customer complaints to detect and eliminate potential cause of defect. The next one is the handling, storage, packaging and delivery. These aspects are very important because any deviation or negligence can cause non-conformity. Sometimes on the shop floor, the product produced are conform the design specifications, but due to the poor handling or storage, some of the products they convert into the non-conformance. So these aspects are very important because any deviation or negligence can cause the non-conformance. Supplier shall provide methods and means of handling, storing raw materials, material in process or a finished product. The material finished goods shall not be subjected to vibration, shocks, abrasion, corrosion, high temperature. It shall be authorized for receipt and dispatch. Secured storage area or stock room shall be provided to prevent damage or deteriorations. The next one is the quality record. The regular supplier must establish documents and maintain procedure for identifications, collections, indexing, filing, storage, maintenance and disposition of quality records. It shall be properly maintained. It shall be legible and identifiable. The retention period of each record must be established and recorded, and there shall be a procedure for removal or disposal after it has become out of date. So whatever record we should maintain all such records, and when some records they are outdated, we have to adopt a particular procedure for removal or disposal of such records. The internal quality audits. The supplier shall carry out plan and documented internal audit. So whenever we perform the internal audit, it should be documented. The audit shall be scheduled on the basis of status and importance of activity. It must be used to verify the effectiveness of the quality system. Implementation and effectiveness of corrective action shall be assessed in future audits. So whatever the remarks given by the auditor, it should be implemented in the future audits. Before the future audits, training. The supplier must establish and maintain procedure for identification and implementation of training needs. The supplier must provide training for all personnel performing activity. So we should give the effective trainings. The supervisor and workers shall have training to enhance their skill and methods used to perform the job. Appropriate records of training should be maintained. So any persons who is responsible performing any operations or working on a particular machine, so it is the responsibility of management to provide a proper training and also maintain the record. Next one is the servicing. The supplier shall establish the maintained procedure for performing and verifying the servicing provided meets the specific requirements. Servicing is applicable only if specified in a contract. last, the 20th point is the statistical techniques. The supplier shall establish procedure for identifying adequate statistical technique required for verifying acceptability of process, capability and the product characteristics. It can be applied for the purpose such as market analysis, the product designs, reliability of a product, process control, finding quality level, data analysis or defect analysis. Thank you.